Hi. So here's how to use this amazing camera and the entire pipeline to make a 360 video. So let's start with a tripod. Tripod's super heavy. Don't freak out, it's heavy. Purposely, so the wind doesn't knock it over. So you unscrew these things to make it go up and down. It's sort of spring loaded so that when you put it away later, you'll see you have to kind of force it down and then eventually it stops, but that's just as like a little shock absorber. To get this piece out so you can screw it onto the camera, this little ring right here, you simply pull it down and this pops out. And now you can attach this to the camera and then pop it back in, nice and easy. Here's the camera. Open up the case. Pull the camera out with fingers like this and grab it like this and pull it straight up. And there's the camera. This is the lens cap ring thing. It cleans the lenses too, which is really convenient. We're not going to use the antennas right now. I will show communication on another video. We're just going to shoot without monitoring, which is fine. Here is the battery compartment right here. I have found that if you leave the battery in the camera, it slowly drains, so you end up with a dead battery. So we'll just be taking it out and putting it in the case. It goes with a little contact side facing down. If you look in there, you'll see little contacts anyway. And it probably won't go in the other way. And then you just drop it in and close the door. Put the camera down for a moment, pull this back, pop this off, and put it in the bottom. Screw it in. Don't totally crank it so tight that you can't get it out. Just put it in snug. And pop it on here. Yeah, it's there. Good. Nice and tight. Next, here's a little screen that Cynthia's going to have to focus in on. But to start this thing up, it's this lowest round button right here. You simply push the button one time and wait. It won't show that you've done anything for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then the little light will go on and it'll start up. So don't push it a bunch of times or double push it or anything like that. It'll just confuse it and you'll have to take the battery out or something and put it back in. What else? What else is in here that we need? Anything? Eventually we will need the Ethernet cord to get the memory from the cards. Put that there. So we're just going to wait for it to start up. It does take a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, really. It's already done. It's pretty quick. So the first thing you want to do is clear out the memory, because the memory will tend to fragment and then it'll slow down the cards and it won't operate properly. Can you see that screen well enough? Okay, so we're going to go all the way, we're using the little down arrow, we'll go all the way to the little gear icon and press the power button, which is also now doubles as a select button, and go down until we see something. There's one, gyro, fan, yes. Storage, there we go. Hit the little select button, and it says storage space, test write speeds. I think I'm gonna hit storage space if I recall. Hit that, we wait for a moment while it registers what storage space is there. Everything takes a little time on this thing, so you have to be patient with everything. Okay, so I see that I'm gonna click on to one of these SD cards, SD1, and hit select, and it says format this card or format all the cards, and that's what we want. So we go down one, hit the button, and it will confirm. Yes, confirm, absolutely. And it says all the SD cards are formatting at once. Isn't that convenient? It does take a moment. But that will completely erase the cards, reformat them, and we won't have any fragmenting. And it's done. Not too bad for like half a terabyte worth of data. Okay, now I'm going to, I guess we'll shoot. Let's just shoot right now. And then maybe I'll open up the computer and start it up while we're shooting. That way we can kind of be convenient here. All right, open up the computer, start it up, make sure it's plugged in. Don't try and do this on battery because it won't last very long. These are gaming computers and the batteries only last about an hour to hour and a half. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the little back button, which is this little counterclockwise arrow button, and go back to the main menu, I hope. If things don't work, you have to restart this thing and then you can get to where you need to go. I think this will work. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going backward. Here we are, back to the main menu. And I'm gonna go to the thing that looks like a little movie camera, not the first film camera, because you can shoot stills with this thing too, but we don't need that. We wanna shoot video. And you can do live YouTube, by the way, that's the next one. So anyway, there it is, video, and I'm going to hit the button, the select button. In a moment, it'll tell me that it's ready to shoot. Wait for it. Wait for it. Ready. It's now ready. I hit the select button one more time. Need to test the storage. Press power to continue. Really? Alright, fine. Testing. Let's hopefully this won't take very long. Generally it doesn't have to do this, but maybe it's because I just formatted. Okay, so that took about 2 minutes. So don't freak out. Alright, so it says all storage devices are speed sufficient. Great. Hit the button. Ready. Press the button again. And the fan turns off, the lights turn on and blink, and we are shooting. So right now things are happening. I'm going to make it a very short video. So I'm going to stop it, same button. Hit the button, it's now saving. Fan turns back on again to cool it off. You can go to 15 minutes with the fan off and it won't overheat. And it will automatically turn on if it needs to. I'm going to shoot one more time so that we have 2 clips, because you will likely have more than 1 clip. So we'll have 2 clips. So I'm going to hit it again. Ready? And fan turns off, lights turn on, and now we're shooting our very second clip. I'll do something funny with my hands so that we can see that there's a difference, and then I will turn it off again. And it's saving. So now it is a good idea to shut down the camera because it will go through a process of kind of organizing what you just shot, and you won't lose any data. So that's what they suggest you do. So to shut down the camera, you hold this button until it tells you to let go of it. And it will say, shutting down, stop pressing the button. In which case, you stop pressing the button. And then it will shut down. Okay, shut down. So now we're going to try and get our stuff off the camera using the Ethernet cord. So the Ethernet clicks into the bottom of the camera. Just find a spot where it does. Am I on the right side? Maybe not. Yeah, it's on this side. It just clips in like that. Old school Ethernet. And I'm going to turn it on. And plug the Ethernet cord into the computer. Like so. I guess I'll put this over here out of the way. So you can see that. Okay, so we're back to the main menu again. And I want it to be able to read the memory. So I'm going to click over to where it looks like a little SD card and click the select. And it will now load the memory. And that takes a moment. So while well, I think we'll wait. So it's going to say loading. It's got a bunch of zeros at the top. And that will eventually turn into an Ethernet address so that we can get the files. So we have to wait for that. You have to wait for everything. This really shouldn't take too long, considering you didn't really shoot much. Maybe it doesn't matter. There it goes. And see, now you see that the zeros have been now populated. It's always the same number that's going to be up there. which you'll eventually memorize because you'll have done it so many times. So now on the computer, we are going to run this program called Insta360 Stitcher. And we only run it for one reason only, and that's just to get the stuff off of here. That's all. We don't do any other stuff with this thing. So we are going to click on the Cam Files Manager button here, and then the one on the bottom saying connect cam to PC via LAN cable. That's our Ethernet cable. Hit import, and it tells you some stuff that we're already going to know. And we're going to now select the yellow button. And now is where you have to put in that address. So you click on where it says desktop and hit backspace to clear it off. And you have to use the funky slash. This is not the usual slash that we're used to in writing. You have to use the slash that's right above the enter key. So you go slash slash, because you see it's leaning back. And then you put in that address. So you got to do those two slashes, otherwise it's going to look for something on the internet. So it's 192.168.1.188 funky slash Pro2. It has to be that exact address. That will be written. And I'm going to hit enter. And now it will show 6 cards and a 7th SD card, which is containing all your proxies. So you select the last SD card, select that, and say select folder. It thinks about it for a moment. Think. And this can take longer depending upon if you have lots and lots of clips. So every time you turn the record on and off, it creates a folder. So if you've shot, 6, 7 clips, you'll have 6, 7 folders. And inside those folders will be 14 different files. And what those files are, it's 6 of the real files from the little SD cards. It's 6 more that are proxy files that are smaller versions, and a extra one that is a quick stitch and some other data file. So it's like 14 different. And it starts playing, which is kind of annoying. So you immediately hit pause so that you don't use up your system resources. There is the 2 folders right here of where we shot. And you simply click select all, and turn that off again, and import contents to local drive. Click that. And I'm a desktop person, so I'm going to put it on the desktop. And I'm going to make a new folder on the desktop by right-clicking and saying new folder. And there it made it. And I'm going to call this, camera test, or whatever you want to call it. And that's the folder I'm going to select, so everything goes in there. Select that. And then you can say delete when you're done, but I leave it on the camera until you make sure you get everything. So actually I would not hit that because I'm going to hit import. And you'll have to wait now. It's going to grab 14 files in 2 groups. It might be fairly quick. But sometimes it misses a file or 2. You're going to have to check. And if it does, then you got to import again. So you got to make sure it's really got the correct number of files in each folder. Because sometimes it'll only fill up half the folder. And so don't take anything for granted. You have to double check. It's a little glitchy. And this could take kind of a long time depending upon how long your shots were. Like if you have, half an hour of shots, this could be like an hour process, or maybe not quite that long, but this could be kind of a longer process. But for what we just shot, this really shouldn't take long at all.
So you'll need to learn patience. Okay, so it just did one folder. Now it's on group, the second group, which is the second shot, and it's already at 8 of 14. So 14 is the correct number. You want to make sure you get 14 files per folder. We're getting there, 10 of 14, 11. One more to go. Okay, okay. And we can open up the folder, and you'll see two folders. Open up one, and you will see that there they are. There's your 14 video files. Remember I said there was a preview. Excuse me. And then there's this PRO thing, which is some data it needs. You can even double click the preview and get
turns off, the lights turn
sort of a down and dirty quick stitch that the camera makes on the fly. And I'm going to check the second folder because I don't trust anything, and you shouldn't either. And sure enough, there are the 14 files again. So just make sure you get 14 each time, because every once in a while you won't. Now you can shut down Stitcher. You're done with that. Next, we're going to go into Adobe Premiere. So that'll be available on these computers. We'll open that up. It shouldn't take too long to open. We're running high-speed SSDs. Everything has to be high speed. Everything's like pushing this technology as fast as it will go. And generally it comes up with a window saying what do you want to do, but if it doesn't, I guess maybe I've turned mine off. I'm going to say new, oh, there it goes. New project. I'm going to click new project. So you can call it anything you want. I'll call it tester. And I like to put it in the very same folder that I've got all the video files written so that everything's in the same folder. And that way, if you want to move it to another computer, another drive to store it, which you will need to, it's all in one folder. So I'm going to hit browse and go to the desktop. Here's my camera test folder. I'm going to select that. So everything is going to go in there. Make sure that where it says renderer, you say Mercury Playback Engine, GPU acceleration, CUDA. Very important. We use this hardware acceleration or things will not work very well. That's it. You hit OK. It then gives you an interface. And you don't import like the normal way that you might be used to if you've ever used Premiere. You don't go file, import, and all that. This is different. You go Window, Extensions, Insta360Pro Importer. These are the plugins that are finicky, but they work. Open that up, and you get this. You set the content type to stereo left eye on top. You click Import, and you go to your desktop where you perhaps put everything. Where's my desktop? Desktop? Hello, desktop. Camera test, and just click on one of these folders, it doesn't matter which. It's going to see them all. And hit select folder. It'll think about it for a moment. And it should, oh, you know what? You really do have to select each folder. So I did the first one, I'll do the second one. And you can select them all too. If you highlight all of them, it will get them all at once. Forgot about that. Okay, so we should have a second one coming up. Looks like the first one. Maybe I did, yeah, I did the first and second twice. All right, I'll do it right this time. I'm going to say Window Extensions Importer. Uh-oh. Not responding. Yeah, that's what happens. There it goes. All right, back to, oh, it's already seeing these. Okay, well, whatever. Stereo left eye on top. I'll import the first folder. That's the one I didn't do. So ignore the fact that I've got two of these. Oh, it looks like the same. Why does it continue with this? Oh, because we were in the same room. That's it. These are two different ones. Okay, I had done it right. Ignore the last one. Okay, now, very important that you tell it a couple of settings before you do the final import. So you click on the little gear right there, and it opens up this video settings. Very important that we do it this way. On stitching modes, you do not do the new optical flow, you go to optical flow. New optical flow is a high-speed stitching that has lots of glitchiness to it that we don't want. It's fast, but you lose quality. Then we turn off the flow state stabilization, because that's when you have a moving camera, which we will never. Next is you want to preview your stitching effect. Open that or click that. It will open this separate window. And it will give you a down and dirty stitch. And what you want to do is find an area of your video, and you can use this little playhead right here, that's going to be the main focus. So in other words, if you have a bunch of people standing in one spot, that's going to be what the video is mostly going to be. Go to that frame. This one's fine for me. Because what it tries to do, it tries to kind of merge things together best for the main part of your video. That's what this is about. So you click on the frame you like, and then turn on the zenith optimization, which you'll have to think about it again. And the zenith optimization stitches the ceiling and the floor super well. It's like the magic button. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And then you say set as reference frame, and hit save. And then you go to the second one and do the same thing. Click the little gear, go to optical flow, turn off the flow state stabilization, preview stitching effect, and you'll have to do this for every single shot, and it takes a little time. I've had like 22 shots at once. I just have to, you know, do them. There's me with my hands, so that's a good frame. Turn on the zenith optimization. Set my reference frame, and hit save. We're done importing. You don't have to save anything, it's already done it. So now I've got the first two, which are correct, the third one, which I didn't even bother to do any settings on. And since I don't need that third one, that was a repeat, you can just hit delete or backspace. Okay, so these are the only ones we're worried about. If you don't make mistakes like I just did, you won't have to do that. Now you grab one of these, whichever one you'd like to start with, and just click and drag it into the timeline. And it makes a timeline. It shows your video, and it shows 4 audio tracks, because there's a bunch of microphones in there too. And then you got to sit and wait for the media to come up. Media pending. It's trying to read the SSD as fast as it can. And it's not fast enough, really. And there's the first bit. You should have this. This is the proxy mode. That means it's using the little files, not the big files. That needs to be blue, turned on. And if you want to see what it's going to look like as, you know, not all spread out, if you turn on this one, the little ball, and I'll have this all set up for you to put these buttons there, because we have to put those buttons there. This shows you, you can actually move around your video like this. And it shows you whether you've got a tilt or a pan right here. I'm going to set these both to 0 so that we know where we really are. So there's 0 and 0. So this is what it's really going to see. When you first put on the headset, this is what's going to be in front of you. And now I'm going to turn off the little ball and see the whole thing again. Okay, great. Now I'll take the second clip and put that in front of it like this, and it will snap into place. And I can move my playhead if I want to see what it looks like. And that's it. To do some quick video editing, I'll show more video editing later, but let's say you wanted to cut off the end where I turn the button. You can take your razor blade tool right here and cut it, click, and then go back to your selector and select it and hit backspace, delete, it's gone. Let's say I want to cut off the beginning as well. Same deal, razor blade tool, cut it where the playhead is. Select the part I don't like. I could delete it and then try and move everything over, or you can do it all in one operation, which is really cool. You click the right click button on it and you get this big old long menu, but what you're looking for here is ripple delete. So ripple delete will automatically delete it and throw everything over, nice and quick. If you have any spaces in your clips when you want to get everything to push over, you just right click in the space and hit ripple delete. Okay, so this is, let's say, ready to go. I like my video. I could put titles on it or whatever, but I'll show that later. So now exporting. So before you export, save your work. File, save as, and I'll call this, I don't know, tester 2. I always do increments. First one was tester, here's tester 2, next one was tester 3. I'm going to save my work. Anytime you get a bunch of editing done, if you end up doing a bunch of editing, I'd save your work every 10 minutes because things could crash. I mean, we're really pushing this. In fact, we're pushing this so hard, but before we export it to our movie, we're going to restart the entire computer to clear out the memory. And this is because we're trying to avoid what's called error code 99. It'll happen every so often. You get a big window saying a bunch of text. At the very bottom it says error code 99, which means it had trouble reading a file. I think it has to do with bad code and memory leaks, but whatever. And then you end up having to restart the computer and try it again, and everything just works. That's what I found to do. So we're just going to do that in advance. We're going to shut down the program. We've saved our work, we're ready to go. And restart not just the program, but the entire computer. So when you're ready to export, I would do the whole computer. Because that will clear out not only the memory, but I think it also stops some of the background processes. Or maybe doesn't get them going, I'm not sure which. But I found this to be the case. Working with us is that you can avoid that dreaded error 99 9 times out of 10 if you just restart before you export your movie. And I guess I'll turn off the camera now since we're not doing anything with it. So you hold the button, hold until it tells you to stop holding it. In this case, it's not telling me anything. Oh, there it goes. Just went off. Okay, great. All right. And there we go. And we're going to open up Premiere again. Never connect to the internet on this computer because it's set to work, and if you connect to the internet, updates will start to happen in the background, and that tends to break things. Do not update anything, do not connect to the internet for any reason. We're just not going to do that with these computers. Okay, open project, tester 2, ready to go. And we wait. Media pending, you will see some activity over here while it loads things, and this may go on for a while. We only have 2 little clips, so it may be pretty fast. But you may have to sit there and wait for the little blue deal to go slowly across until finally it's loaded everything it needs to load. And eventually this should show. Okay, there we go, we're ready to go. We don't want to do anything now to fill up the memory. Okay, so we want to export our timeline, which means you must click on the timeline until it shows up in the big blue box around it. Otherwise it won't know what to export, although you think it would. File, export, media. This is Adobe Media Encoder. Here's how you set it. HEVC H265. It probably won't be like that normally until you've done it a couple times, but that's what you do. You make it like that. Give it a better name than the name it gives you. So I'm going to click on it, and I'll call it Test 1. And I'll just put it on my desktop, that's fine. That's where my movie's gonna go. And hit save. It'll change the name to test 1, it's gonna throw it on the desktop. We will, of course, export the video and the audio. Another very important thing, we cannot match the source. This is too big. It won't play on the headsets. So turn off the little box where it matches the source. And the number here you put in is 4096. That's how big, that's how many pixels it will be. It's square, so it'll automatically do the bottom one. 4096 by 4096. Very important that you do that or your video won't play. I've done it a million times. And then we'll hit the render at maximum depth. Why not? And then we will continue scrolling down here until we get to the bit rates, and you just crank this all the way to the right. We want nice high quality video here. Don't worry about the quality good, good's great. It will be VR, it'll know. And check that it's stereoscopic over, under. And then we use maximum render quality, that's always a good one too. And then you hit export and wait. So how long will this take? Well, about, I would say 20 minutes per 1 minute of video. In this case, it's going to be under 4 minutes because we haven't got much video. So this is where it takes a while. I mean, really, that's pretty fast. 20 minutes per 1 minute of video is actually screaming fast for what we're doing. Okay, so it did it with no error code 99. This is when you'd see error code 99 would splash on your screen and you'd have to restart your computer and try it again. And do nothing else, oftentimes. You just restart and do it again, it works. Okay, so I'm going to turn off Premiere because we're done. I'm not going to bother saving anything because I already did. And here's my movie, test1.mp4. I can even double click it and it should play in something. Oh, maybe not, missing a codec.
Happening. I'm gonna make it.
I wonder what codec I'm missing. Oh, I probably need VLC. I bet if I put VLC on there, it would work just fine. Anyway, that's the movie. And I will have to put in another video how to get it onto your headset, how to sideload it. It's pretty easy. But I didn't bring my headset with me, so that's it.